Okay, hello and welcome to the Marketing in Trucking Masterclass. I'm going to show you guys how you can automate and streamline your business, no matter what type of business it is. I'm going to show you how to make things a little bit easier on you. So, if you want, you could type in the chat and tell me what type of business you are operating related to the trucking industry, whether you own a trucking company, a brokerage, a dispatching company, whatever it is. The techniques that we're going to cover today are going to be able to help you, but I would like to cater the information to those who are present so that it makes more sense to you. So you can type that in the chat if you want. Um, let's see. If this is your first time with me, I'm BJ Phillips. I created the Black Small Biz platform because I wanted to help Black people make more money in the trucking industry. I've owned several trucking companies. I've done e-com. I live for marketing, and I also do small business consulting. So today I'm combining several of these things together to give you guys the marketing and trucking masterclass. So, I always give a disclaimer like your mileage is going to vary depending on what product and service you are operating. Some of the things that you have to do are going to be a little bit more detailed, or you're going to have to use a little common sense to kind of navigate. But I try to give examples as I go along to make sure that you guys will understand, but you definitely gonna have to put in some work. And one of the things I should have put in here is, as we'll talk about later, you're going to have to spend a little bit of money, but we'll get into that. All right. So, what we're going to cover today are the automations that you're going to need in order to um, streamline the business operations that you have, and more importantly, have an effective marketing strategy. We're also going to go into a little known strategy. I'll show you guys one of the strategies that I use to bring people into my businesses. And then I'm going to share with you guys all the tools and resources that you will need in order to execute on these strategies. All right. So, first things first, I want to talk to you guys about the automations. All right. So, anything that you have to do in your business that you are going to be repeating yourself over and over again, or you're going to be doing that task over and over again, that should not be done by you. It really shouldn't. As the owner of a business, there are things that you're going to do that are money making tasks, and then there are things that you're going to do that are like busy work, behind the scenes type of stuff. All of that busy work and the behind the scenes type of stuff, all of the repetitive tasks, if it's repetitive, that means that something or someone else can do it for you. Why are there two R's in the word trucking at the top of the page? So that's going to irritate me if it's like that through the whole class. But anyways, you should be utilizing some sort of software or another human being that's going to take care of that stuff for you. Because um, when you're running a business, and I know that you guys probably can attest to this, like there are certain things that like only you can do. There's certain tasks that um, no matter how much you try, you cannot put that off on someone else, right? But then there's stuff that, again, it just doesn't matter. You got to free up your time in order to make things make sense. So let me give you some examples. As a matter of fact, honey, I don't even know what the next slide is. Let me make sure it's not my examples. Oh, okay, great. So here we go. So if you are booking loads for people, right? So let's say you are a dispatcher or you're a broker. If you're booking loads for people, there are a lot of things depending on your route. So if let's say you're a broker, you're a dispatcher, there's going to be forms, there's going to be agreements, there's going to be an entire onboarding process that you have to go through if you're going to, or let's say even if you're allowing someone to lease on to you. Every single company that comes and works with you, whether you are a broker, a dispatcher, it doesn't matter. there are going to be the same steps that you complete over and over again. They're going to need to fill out some sort of carrier packet so that you can have their information in order to fill out carrier packets for them, or in order for them to be able to be put in your system. You should not be manually sending that carrier packet out to them. You should not be manually accepting that carrier packet. This is stuff that should be done online using either something like a Google form, or you can actually use some more, advanced software to handle it. But that type of stuff you should not be handling. Like, the entire onboarding process of gathering documents, explaining what the process looks like, all of that can be done using videos and or websites and other software, right? um it says here, like, when you're dispatching, so we talked about onboarding people, getting, your owner operators or getting your carriers information, right? But when it comes to actually dispatching the work, I used to send out group messages, or I would copy and paste the exact same message to 20 different owner operators when I first started brokering in 2012, 2013, right? Everything was one by one, or it was a huge group message. And nobody likes a group message, right? So that was how things had to be done. So that was multiple times a day. So in the morning, it was, good morning, has your truck arrived on the job site? If I had to do that for a particular job, if I sent out 10 trucks, it might be 5 owner operators, 4 owner operators. I have to reach out to each one of those owner operators or send a group message to make sure that they're on site if they didn't already message me. Then when it's time to book loads for that day, I got to reach out to every broker or dispatcher that I work with to send them a message that says, hey, do you have any work for me tomorrow? What work do you have for me tomorrow? Then once that message comes back, now I got to go take that information and go and send it to my 20 owner operators that I send info out. So again, am I doing it in a group message, or am I copying and pasting? I literally had an assistant, and all she did was handle my phone because I was because I was brokering so many trucks. All she did was send and receive text messages all day long, right? This kind of stuff became a lot easier when I started using a SMS platform or a CRM software, where I could type the email one time and send it out to everyone. Or I could type the text message one time and it would go out to everyone in separate individual messages, but I only had to do it one time, right? Also, these different automation softwares, they helped me to segment my list. I had some guys who had aluminum body trucks, and I had some guys who had steel body. So depending on the kind of work that I was running, I didn't need to text all 20 trucks. It might be only 5 guys who had a rock body. So I needed to be able to segment my list of clientele so that I could only message the people who really need it, right? When you're doing this kind of stuff, this is very time consuming. You can make a mistake. It's just the most, right? So anything that you can do to automate this, or to send out bulk messages, bulk correspondence, is going to make things a lot easier for your business. In addition to that, y'all know how I am. I'm all about having multiple streams of income. So if you are a broker or a dispatcher and you have all of these owner operators, I see you guys type compliance and consulting in the chat. Let's say you want to start offering consulting services. Maybe you want to start offering consulting services. Well, now you have an entire system full of owner operators or full of shippers, right? You got a database that is full of information or full of people who might be interested in the additional products and services that you have, or that might be interested in the affiliate products and services that you might be able to offer. Does that make sense? So this automation software or the automation process of all of this is so important because it allows you to be in multiple places at once, but it also allows you to extend your reach. So now you're literally like an octopus. Instead of you only being able to do two things because you only have two hands, these automation software and strategies, they are going to give you the ability to do 8, 9, 10 different things at one time with it just being you, as opposed to having to hire someone like I did just to send text messages all day. Okay. You see, Renee, I got you in here. If you're selling a planner, right, then you're going to use automation to do the selling. You're not going to be out here looking for people who need the planner. You're not going to be out here looking for people who need your consulting services. Your automation is going to include ads and maybe a questionnaire that's going to allow people to find you. They're going to come across you, and then they will reach out. They will provide the information that you said you needed. And this is all going to happen without you actively doing anything, right? So the name of the game is the more people that can see your product and or service, the more the higher your conversion numbers will be, right? So if you only are able to let 100 people know today that you offer consulting services in the trucking industry. If you are getting a 2% conversion rate, that's really not a lot of people. But if you're able to automate this process and add paid advertising to it, instead of reaching only 100 people a day, you might be able to reach 1,000 people a day. And this is happening 24 hours a day, and you're not doing anything until the person makes a payment and it's time for you to do your work, right? The old way of doing things, you're involved every step of the way. The first phone call is, oh yes, do you want to work for me? Do you want my product or service? Okay, yes, you do. Okay, great. Here's how you handle that. Okay, now if you really want that, okay, great. Here's my invoice. Go and pay it. Okay, great. You've paid the invoice. Here's the next step. Okay, great. Now I'm delivering whatever you purchase. No, you should not have to speak to anyone, depending on your business model, until they have already paid for that product and or service. Or if you're selling like this planner, you should not have to speak to them at all unless there's a problem, right? We have to work smarter, not harder. And most of us are not ready to hire people when we need it. And so by putting automations in place, it allows you to lengthen the amount of time that you're able to be a solopreneur while you're building and growing your business. Okay. Does this make sense so far? And do you guys have any questions so far? Because we are about to move on to the strategy and what these automations are and how you can use them.